YouTube, how's it going? The GOAT House is back. You've seen all my grades for every team for the 2021 NFL Draft. You've seen my rankings, winners and losers, pretty much everything. Now we're on to the fans' grades. See what you guys think about each team's draft class. We vote for these every single year on our Twitter. You guys are voting for who actually won the draft as well. A lot more decisions you guys will make for future videos with polls. Rookie of the Year voting on the way actually very soon. So make sure you follow that Twitter to get more involved. It's on your screen, and there's a link down below. Please subscribe to the channel. More post-NFL draft content coming. Schedule releases next Wednesday. We'll break that down, and then we'll get into my season predictions, record predictions, playoffs, Super Bowl, all of it. So join us for all that. Be much appreciated. Start with the Jags. You guys graded them an A. Yeah, I gave them a B+. I've seen people grade them A in that B plus range as well. And they got a long list of players. I think the great thing about the Jacksonville Jaguars is it really doesn't feel like they have any holes, really. There's a lot of spots where, yes, they can get better. It's a young team, but that's a good thing overall. They don't have any giant, holes, like spots where, like, okay, that's a problem. They don't really have that, so that's fantastic. There's some picks I really like. Some I thought were a little bit, of reaches. They had 2 first-round picks, so obviously they get better. Really like the Andre Cisco pick, and Jordan Smith from UAB I like as well. And you guys liked it a little better than I did, so you guys gave it an A. You can see all the percentages on Twitter from these polls. It's either A, B, C, or D. Jets, we're all in agreement because I gave them an A as well. You guys gave them an A. Yeah, definitely a big haul. Traded up for Elijah Vera Tucker. I think Elijah Vera Tucker is a great fit. That definitely is a big impact in terms of their offensive line. They did trade a bit to get up there and get a guard. So I think there's people playing both sides or, a little bit split on that one, if that was great move or not. But I love Elijah Moore. I like Nazir Ladine. They got Michael Carter, in the 4th round. So they did a heck of a job there in New York. We were in agreement on that one. San Francisco, I also gave them a B. You guys gave it a B. I think the world is split on the Trey Lance decision. I think some people look at it as it's a great pick because it was Trey Lance or Mac Jones. Well, that was what the decision was at the end, but it didn't really, there's more than 2 players in the entire draft. So I think you got to look at it for if you wanted them to get Justin Fields, if you thought they should have got Justin Fields, then stick with that. But Trey Lance versus Mac Jones. You can debate that all day, but that's really not what that's what the decision came down to. But so I think people look at the situation a little differently, but we're all in agreement. They got a pretty good draft there. I like some of the fits with the style of play they're going to be going with. I thought Ambry Thomas was a steal. I liked him out of Michigan. So all of us in agreement on the B for the 49ers here. Falcons. Same thing. B's all around. Falcons from the fans, from myself. Yeah, they were kind of, they get the big-time pick like Kyle Pitts. I like the Jalen Mayfield pick. Richie Grant, another one where a lot of people loved Richie Grant. Some people were like, it's a solid pick. It's an okay pick, And then, they were kind of here and there, hit and miss there with, we will see if they're hit and misses, but in terms of great pick, a little bit of a reach. It's kind of back and forth, and that results with those teams. Usually it results in a B. Bengals, I gave them a B+. You guys gave them a B, so it made sense there. It's a draft class that kind of grew on me after the fact. Another one that they had some reaches here and there. I'm not a fan of taking a kicker. They took a couple guys that didn't have grades on there a little later. But Joseph Asai in the 3rd. I like Cam Sample a lot in the 4th. And I like Chris Evans from Michigan a lot as well. I think that's a good Gio Bernard replacement. So another one where it was like kind of back and forth. Great pick. And then maybe a little early. Got like Jackson Carman there a little early, but Bengals got better there. Dolphins, A. I gave them an A-. I thought it was a pretty consistent draft, no reaches. I love the Jalen Phillips pick. Other than that, they got good players, maybe nothing crazy, wow value that a lot of these teams had. So maybe that's what's splitting them up, when you got to start split hairs between the top draft classes here. But we're all in agreement that Dolphins had a pretty damn good class. Then the Lions. Lions were my top draft class. They did a hell of a job. A lot of steals, value, impact players, filled some needs. They did a hell of a job. They loved every single pick from the Detroit Lions. Yeah, we're in agreement on that one as well. A, I think everyone should have an A. I haven't really been looking too hard at other people's rankings or who had the best grade. Everyone has different systems. A lot of people giving out a lot of A pluses, but I haven't seen anybody with the Lions at the very top. I do have them at the top with the Patriots, only 2 A pluses from me. So that was interesting. I thought they, no brainer. They had an excellent draft. Panthers A. I noticed a lot of fans, say the Panthers maybe had the best draft out of anybody. I thought they were very good. I just thought there was some reaches in there compared to like the top classes, the A plus classes, where they're pretty much flawless. So I don't think the Panthers were flawless, but they did pick several times, so that kind of makes it more of a chance that happens. But I do love the players they got. They got some big time impact players. A good mixture of offense, defense. Last year they had to go all defense. So yeah, this is another one that it's very consistent in terms of how people grade it, their thoughts on it. Everyone thinks the Panthers did well, so that makes sense. Broncos B. I gave the Broncos an A. I think you look at the Panthers draft, they got a haul. Everyone likes that. The Broncos got a haul as well. I thought the Broncos were a little more consistent. I thought they had a little more impact players there, actually. Maybe it doesn't look as good because the Broncos didn't have as many needs. You look at teams like the Panthers or several other teams that had a big haul. Like, okay, a lot of these guys are going to play because they had these needs. So maybe that's what people ignore with the Broncos here or forget. But they got some really good players. The only pick I didn't really love was Caden Stearns, which they heard some talk about maybe moving in the corner. We'll see. I don't like him as a free safety too much, but he has the athleticism. But I thought the Broncos did a hell of a job. So I actually had him as an A. Eagles, I had the Eagles as an A too. I know it's tough. The fans kind of got it programmed in their mind. The Eagles draft classes, sometimes they look good, but they just never work out. So maybe that's not fair. Maybe that's not it, but that's my only thing. That's my only thing I could think of here. Cause I thought, I think everyone should be on board, in that A range. Cause I thought they got a haul. They got some steals. They got some impact players. So that one was one we were just two in a row here, Broncos, Eagles, that we're a little different on. Bears, another one that's pretty consistent. When you look over everybody that grades the drafts, ranks the drafts, the Bears are very high. They surprised a lot of people. They weren't supposed to really do that well. They weren't really supposed to get the quarterback. So I thought they did a very good job. Don't think they reached once. They got 2 wow picks there at the top. So, everyone's in agreement with the Bears getting an A here. Cowboys B. I also had them at a B. They were starting off one of the better drafts, in my opinion, very early on, and they had a couple big-time reaches looking at Chauncey Golston and Deshaun Wright. I thought those were pretty big reaches. And then they, get a steal on Jabril Cox, so they pick it back up a little bit. But they had potential to get the best draft. I had them with the best draft last year. They had potential to do it again, but overall still a good draft. Chargers A. Yes, I gave them an A as well. I like their draft. They did have a couple reaches in the middle a little bit. Trey McKitty, not a crazy reach. Wasn't a huge Chris Rumph guy, but I do like the fit. If it wasn't for those reaches on my board, they may have had the very best draft. They could have had an A-plus draft there because the rest of it was fantastic. Getting Rashawn Slater, Asante Samuel Jr., Josh Palmer, some of those picks, love those picks. So I think that's another one where pretty much the whole world's in agreement. They had a great draft. Patriots got an A. Yeah, I had 2 teams A+, Patriots, Lions. Love the Patriots draft. Just a bunch of impact players. Mac Jones fell in their lap. Christian Barmore they had to trade up for. Love Ronnie Perkins. Love the Oklahoma guys they got. Ronnie Perkins and Ramondre Stevenson. Love those picks. Add McGrone. They had a fantastic draft. So everyone should be on the same page with that one as well. Cardinals B. I gave them a B-. They had a really good day 3. I keep bringing it up, though. I don't know if did they get compared to the rest of the teams, did they get a good amount of impact, right away at least? I think Rondale Moore maybe. We'll see what Zaven Collins' role is. Sounds like he's going to play inside. They played in a 3-3-5. He played weak side, so a little bit of an adjustment there. So maybe, they got some solid players. Just how much of an instant impact are they going to have? That's kind of my question with them, but overall a good draft. Raiders, you guys gave him a C. I gave him a C-. Wasn't thrilled with the Raiders draft. Merrick was a solid pick. I did have him on my big board in the 30s, so for me, it's not like – I think the wow part was what was he, the 3rd safety taken? That was pretty surprising. That was kind of the wow part, but in terms of the value, solid. It's good, obviously, but not for me, it wasn't like, oh, my God, I like the Diablo pick, just, in terms of value, not a whole bunch there. Some reaches. Maybe overdid it with the defensive backs there. Maybe Diablo's going to play linebacker. So maybe keep that in consideration. But, yeah, you guys gave him a C. Washington B, I also gave them a B. Another one of those drafts where it's like, yeah, I love that pick. And then, looking at De'Ami Brown. And then, okay, John Bates a little early. It was kind of back and forth a little bit that they had a really good 7th round, couple pass rushers. Dax Milne was a solid pick. Yeah, so overall, I think they did a good job. Why everyone gave them a B here in this scenario. Giants, you guys gave them a B. I actually gave the Giants an A. Maybe why the fans are a little lower. They didn't have a whole lot of picks, but I thought these picks were really very good, really. I don't know if everyone's in love with the Kadarius Toney pick. I'm not in love with it, but it's definitely not a bad pick in any way. It was kind of weird. They kind of targeted him. I think they were going to take Devontae Smith, but it was weird how they were insisting on a receiver. How much is that guy going to play? Toney, that is he only going to be used as a gadget guy? So there are some questions there, and I think that's how the fans are thinking. Overall, it's a talented player. It's a first-round player. Yeah, but it's strange how it's a very complete team, but I will say it's very strange how they think they are kind of out of needs, and not that you have to draft off needs, but it kind of felt that way. It feels like we know they're insisting on developing Daniel Jones. That's fine. But it looks like they're insisting on the current offensive line group, which I don't think is that fine, So we'll see what happens there with that. They're just insisting on Daniel Jones being the guy. Well, you better protect him a little better, So that's my only question. But Azeez Ojulari was a steal. Aaron Robinson was a steal. Rodarius Williams I thought was a steal. Ellerson Smith, pretty solid pick there. So I like the Giants draft. Maybe it's not super. Maybe it's not super sexy of a draft, but I don't know. It's pretty much there because some of those steals there, some wow picks. Colts, yeah, I gave them a B. Yeah, this is another one where there's some solid picks. I love Kwity Paye. It's a great pick. There's some solid picks, some solid players here, but there's nothing like impact. Wow, picks there. It's kind of just a. It's just a B draft. It's a solid draft there pretty much for the most part. So I think everyone's in agreement on that. Titans, it was pretty much the same thing. Two AFC South teams that have kind of felt the same thing. Their first round pick is kind of a wild pick. Caleb Farley can be the best corner in this class if he's healthy. So some question marks there, but that's kind of a big time pick there, just, in the first round. And then there's some, I like Elijah Molden. They got Raduns. That's for me. That's where there was some talk about Raduns going higher, but that's right where he should go in my opinion. So. I like Molden though. Overall, yeah, solid draft. There's nothing to get go crazy about here for the Titans. Vikings, you guys gave him an A. I gave him an A-. So yeah, pretty much it's the same there. There was no minus or plus in your guys voting. Yeah, I keep saying it. The Vikings were starting off like they were the winners of the draft. I thought trading back, getting Darisaw. I love getting Kellen Mond, getting Wyatt. They basically got Darisaw, Mond, and Wyatt Davis. Because since they traded back, those three went together because they gained 2 picks. So. That looked fantastic. And then they kind of went back and forth with don't like it so much and you love that pick. So they overall still had a good draft there. Another good haul for the Vikings. Seems like they get a ton of players every single year. Steelers, C. I gave them a C+. I do think they got some impact players like Najee Harris. How will he be going from the Bama offensive line to the Steelers offensive line? I guess that's the question. And they filled some holes on the offensive line. It's good that they got some guys that might be able to start. That's a kind of a good thing and a bad thing in a way because if these guys got to start, that it's showing how rough it is. But Kendrick Green, I do like him a little better at guard, but I think he'll play center. A good thing he's versatile. So there's things that you like and then you don't like, at the same time. Freiermuth, solid player. It seems like they've been looking for tight ends almost every year. Maybe they finally found one in that. But yeah, we're in the same boat here with the Steelers, Browns. Fans love the Browns. They love the Browns draft, and we'll go over. You guys are voting right now on Twitter. We'll pop that up here in a second. But who is winning or who actually won the NFL draft? Pick one team, and you narrow it down to 3 teams, and the Browns are one of them. For me, yeah, there's a lot of steals, wow picks, but it was kind of back and forth because then there was some. I thought Schwartz was a little early. It kind of did that. A little Togia I wasn't super high on. It was kind of a back and forth draft, but some big time impact, getting the last finishing touches pretty much on the roster there. So the fans really liked the Browns draft, really, really liked it. And I gave it an A as well. I think the fans are just a little high, thinking it might be the best draft, a little higher than I am. Ravens, I also gave an A. Another one of those consistent drafts, maybe a slight reach in there. Stevens, but a pretty consistent draft. You filled needs. You got some impact players. You Bateman away. I think Hayes a fantastic fit. You get Tyler Wallace there. Cleveland's a fit. So a good mixture of things. Crazy value. I think Wallace was one, but that was about it. But it just feels like an A draft to me, and to you guys as well. Saints, C. Yeah, I thought the Saints honestly had probably the worst draft of the group here, just because you kind of look and they had reaches. Their best pick was right where I graded. There's some. I think it's a good situation for Ian Book. I like Ian Book with the Saints. Just a couple rounds early for me. I think Adebo is going to get some action early on. That's good. Peyton Turner, I keep talking about it, has a lot of upside, can be very, very solid. Just the injury concerns is why it was surprising he went in the first there. But, yeah, I think everyone's in agreement that they surprised a little bit, not in the best way, and they got a C from you guys. Packers, C. I think I gave them a C as well, C+. Yeah, they were kind of back and forth. I like a lot of the fits they got. They had some good fits, I thought. But they were looking at my board that was made pre-draft and who they took. They looked like they took guys pretty early for the most part. Love the Kylan Hill pick. I like Amari Rodgers. He should have went third. It's where they got him. I'm just glad they finally pulled the trigger on a solid slot receiver there. So there's things to like here. Bills, B. I gave the Bills an A, and I think why maybe the fans are a little lower. There's really nothing that wow, about this draft. I think it's a consistent draft. They kind of did what they had to do in there. There's no crazy how did they get that player. So I think that's maybe why people aren't putting them in an A range. But I don't know if they really had a reach. They got good impact. I liked that they kind of targeted pass rushers. They were kind of insisting on the same style or the same old pass rushers they had for so long. They added Epinesa last year. Felt like they kind of had to take him when he dropped there. But for the most part, it felt like they're just insisting on the same, either specifically the same guys or that same style guy, adding Mario Addison. So I'm glad they took it very seriously now. So I like that. They had a sneaky good draft in my opinion. I gave them an A. Chiefs, yeah, B. I gave them a B as well. No first round pick kind of hurts them in terms of, the fan voting. They want to see those wild picks, but I think they did a pretty good job for not having a first. Excited to see Cornell Powell in this system. I'm excited about Trey Smith. That was a steal. So the Chiefs did a good job. Buccaneers, B. Yeah, I gave them an A-. They were kind of back and forth. I like the Tryon pick. I know the fans pre-draft weren't that high on Tryon. I was trying to tell him that he was going to go first round. He barely gets in the first round, but I love the fit because he could rush off the edge in a 3-4 and he can drop back. Love Jalen Darden. Love Robert Hainsey for them. We'll see how Kyle Trask is. Good to learn from Brady there. So, yeah, I can't really, even though I gave him an A-, can't really disagree with that one from the fans. Rams, I also gave them the C. Just an interesting path they took. A lot of, a couple receivers and the tight end / receiver from Central Florida and Jacob Harris. But interesting plan. It just feels like they're kind of going all out to give Stafford anything possible. Just give him anything. That's kind of what it feels like, which they didn't really do for Goff, but they're going to do for Stafford. So it's kind of a Super Bowl or bust these next 2 years, I'd say. I do love the Robert Rochelle pick. There's some picks, I think they're solid fits. It's an interesting draft route they went, I suppose. And then the Seahawks, you guys gave him a C. I did as well. Only 3 picks, so it's tough. I think Eskridge fits in. I think he's going to be a home run hitter like he was at Western Michigan for the Seahawks. Maybe a little earlier than we all expected. Trey Brown, is he going to play in the slot? Some questions there. Forsythe's a pretty solid pick. Good for him to learn behind Dwayne Browning. That's perfect style of tackle. So okay draft for the Seahawks, and then the Texans. You guys gave the Texans a D. I actually gave him a B+. So that's probably the biggest difference there. I thought for not having a first and second, either they did a pretty decent job. I think people don't like them for going quarterback and maybe not going corner and edge rusher. I didn't really penalize them for what they decided to take there. So that's kind of the difference. And I think people kind of usually grade teams lower that don't have that instant starter type player, which they didn't have a first or second. So we're going to disagree on that one. Either they had a pretty decent draft. Davis Mills is supposed to go second. They get him early third. It's not crazy value, but Nico Collins. I like Brevin Jordan picks. So, yeah, that's a pretty solid draft for not having first or second. It's not a great draft. It's not a bad draft. You guys thought it was a bad draft. So that's where we're in disagreement. So what we did here was scroll up. You guys gave 11 A's out, and then I created 3 polls with those 11 A's, those teams. And it was semifinals, of course. You guys voted for the Bears over the Dolphins in second, the Ravens third, the Jags in fourth in that poll. The Browns dominated this poll. And then with the Chargers and Patriots and Vikings, all pretty close. And then this poll, the Lions did work in that one for you guys from the poll here. And the Jets were second. The Panthers were third. And that got us to the finals where it's Bears, Browns, Lions. And that has 3 hours left. It's probably going to turn to 2 here soon, maybe. And it's still pretty close. The Browns look like they won the draft according to you guys. But the Lions won the draft, in my opinion, and I think you look across the draft world, the NFL world, I think most people love the Bears pick. It's probably the most common draft. I should say pick. I should say draft for some reason. So that makes sense that maybe, it's not really surprising those 3 teams are here. So a lot of voting left to be done here. They definitely, this changed in the last hour pretty big time too. So another 3 hours, it definitely can change. So make sure you go there at GoDousNFL. Give us a follow. More polls like this. You guys are going to vote for Rookie of the Year, offense, defense. Who will win that? That'll turn into a video with my picks as well. You guys will vote for season predictions. Who's going to win each division? Who's going to win each round of the playoffs? So you're going to want to follow that Twitter to get more involved there. That would help us out a ton. Make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more NFL content. We got post-draft content. Then we got schedule release, got content on that, and season predictions, record predictions, all that. So cannot wait. Join us for that. That's going to do it for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.